Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views. Today is Wednesday, June 13th, 2012. There's a lot to cover in this market, so let's get right into the charts. We'll start off with the usual S&P 500 E-mini futures contract. This is the M contract, which will still be in play. Next week we will have to use the U contract. But one thing you'll notice first is that futures are down about 5 points right now to 1321.75 per contract. So a little bit of a dip after yesterday's big robust rally. Futures are coming down just a little bit. The US dollar is also lower today, down at around 12 cents, but however it is off the lows. If we take a look at the US dollar index, you'll see that the dollar put a little bit of a low in right around 5:30 this morning, little higher low, and as it inches up, it takes the futures lower. Not a big deal here, but something we got to watch for. Just watch that dollar. If the dollar moves up, the market is most likely going to move down and vice versa. Sometimes the relationship is not picture perfect, but for the most part it has been pretty efficient over the past few years. So watch that inverse dollar relationship to the stock market. Again, dollar up, market down, dollar down, market up. That's kind of the way it goes these days. A little bit of news out of Europe today. Right now you have, I believe you had an Italian bond auction. I think Italy auctioned off $6.5 billion in short-term notes. I think they were one-year bills. It looks like yields really spiked there to almost 4%. So again, that is going to be problematic. If you take a look at the European markets this morning, it looks like you have all of the European markets down this morning, with the exception of Spain. Spain is up about 1%, but you do have Germany down a little bit. The French CAC 40 down a little bit. The FTSE is basically flat, and Italy is down about 0.4%. So a little bit of a decline, not a big deal. Market does not seem to be panicking over that bond auction. However, what you should know is that there looks like there could be another run on the Greek banks ahead of this this so-called vote this weekend. So a lot of people in Greece are starting to pull money out of the banks ahead of this coming vote this coming weekend. So something you'll have to watch for. But again, the dollar will tell us everything you need to know. If the dollar starts to move up higher, the markets will start to move lower and vice versa. That's really the best way to judge it, or else the news out of Europe could just become overwhelming and just too hard to follow. So just watch the dollar. That will tell you everything you need to know. Now let's take a look here at gold and oil. This morning we do have gold trading down about 2 points, so not a big deal. Let's take a look at the GLD this morning. GLD is trading right at 156.31. It closed yesterday at 156.45, so basically flat from yesterday. And as I said, spot gold is only down $2 to $16.12 an ounce. Oil is down about 40 cents at the moment to around 82.90. Oil did have a nice pop yesterday. Let's take a look at the USO this morning. You'll see the USO trickling down a little bit here, closed at 31.41, trading at 31.24. Again, if the dollar is weaker, oil will get a bid. In my opinion, if the dollar is stronger, oil, gasoline, and everything else commodity related will fall. So we'll have to watch that very closely. Again, it's more the dollar effect than anything else out there. Now, last night in the Asian markets, you did have the Shanghai index up 1.27%. That's a decent pop. The Nikkei was up about 0.6%. The Hang Seng was up 0.8%. Australia was down about 0.2%. The Indian Sensex was up 0.1%. So the big winner last night was the Shanghai index, which in my opinion is still the most important. That is mainland China, and that was up 1.27%. That's a pretty big move. So if the U.S. markets are strong today, Chinese ADRs could be in play. You want to watch stocks like Baidu. You want to watch stocks like Sina Corp. They could be due for a little bit of a bounce. However, the daily charts on those stocks do not look pretty. But if the U.S. markets hold up and they start to rally a little bit, the Shanghai index or the stocks, the Chinese ADRs, in other words, could get a little bit of a bid. So they should be on your morning watch list as well. All right, a few stocks in the news. Nothing great or spectacular out there. One stock I'm going to start off with is Scott's Miracle-Gro, ticker symbol SMG. This stock is just getting annihilated. Yesterday it closed at 43.05. Today it's trading at $35.98, so just say $36. There's going to be some short-term support I guess just underneath $35 range. However, the real big level that I think you should watch for, the best level I should say, is going to be 33.22. This looks like a pretty strong gap down. So again, who knows how far this can go. But it's a light volume name. The stock rarely trades 1 million shares a day. In fact, yesterday it traded 600,000. Most days it trades around less than 500,000. So when these things overshoot, they can go lower. Watch 33.22, and then you're going to watch the 27.36, and then down to $25. So those would be the levels I would pay attention to. They could give you some short-term intraday scalp bounces, but other than that, this is a pretty good little drop for Scott's Miracle-Gro. Let's take a look at Dell Computer. Dell Computer is getting a bid today, trading up at $12.35, closed at $11.97. This is after the company announced a dividend. I don't think it's a big deal, personally. I don't see anything good for the stock here. If the stock gets above if the stock gets above $13.10, $13.15 on a closing basis, maybe the stock has more upside. But right now, it's just oversold. I think it could be just an options X short covering, little rally there, but nothing good. Dell's in a downtrend, and I don't expect it to go much higher. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it sells off. Let's take a look at Nucor, ticker symbol NUE. The stock closed yesterday at $36.11, trading at $35.25. Not a big gap down by any stretch, but it is a little bit on the weaker side. I'm not exactly sure what the news was there for Nucor, but you may want to just, I think they trimmed their earnings outlook, or they cut their earnings outlook, so that might be the case right now. What you'd have to look for on this stock is support. Really, the best line of support is going to be down at that $30 level when it gets there. So maybe it's even $29.85, but $30 should be a decent support level. After that, it really is lower. It really would take you down to $25.45. But right now, Nucor should have some support at around $29.85, somewhere in there, just appears to the $30 level. That's the best support level that I see. It's only at $35 right now, so it's not getting hit that bad. But if this thing does sell off, you're going to watch that level. The steel stocks are in downtrends, and you got to be careful with that entire sector. Let's take a look at Celgene. I know there was some news out on that stock as well. Celgene right now is trading higher, closed at 63.07, trading at 64.25. Hard to make a lot out of this gap up. I don't think it looks like a strong gap, but it doesn't have much mustard on the sandwich or a lot of energy behind it. So be a little bit careful. I know the stock's buying. Company announced a buyback. I think it's going to be $2 billion or $2.5 billion in stock. I'm not exactly sure what they said. I don't remember. But either way, the gap up is okay. It's in a downtrend. Be very careful with this one. The stock does look like 63 was a fair amount of support, so this one may hold up. Again, it has a lot of work to do, a lot of resistance points to move higher, so you have to watch that very closely. Looks like retail sales are out for the month of May. They're down 0.2%. You're going to take a look at the futures right now. You'll see that the futures are trading a little bit lower, so that's what we're dealing with, at least at the moment. The dollar is starting to fall, and you can see futures have come back a little bit and have rebounded. So keep an eye on that US dollar index chart. If you take a look here, you'll see the dollar starting to fall, come back in, and that actually is going to help the futures trim that early dip right there. But either way, markets are a little bit going to be volatile this week. It is options expiration on Friday. I believe it's a quadruple witching, which means everything under the sun is expiring. Expect a lot of volatility into Friday. Right now, markets are going to be chopping around, and look for a very volatile day, as this is Whipsaw Wednesday, usually the most volatile trading session of the options expiration week. So the week leading into the Friday expiration, Wednesday leading into it is usually the most volatile, and that's what we're already seeing this morning. So again, be prepared for anything. This is the real shark week. Options X, always a lot of game playing by the institutional money. You always want to be a little bit on the careful side. I'm going to leave it there. Right now, futures are down 6.5 points to 13.20 1/4, and we'll see how this market plays out once the opening bell rings. Take it real slow, take it real easy, and we'll see you tomorrow on the charts. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you then.